Fortnite is widely considered a family-friendly game, which is crazy because I found 30 different crimes being committed. Like, did you know, if Jones were to be put on trial, he would spend the next 250 years in jail? Or what about Shohei Ohtani? He is one of the newest icon skins in Chapter 6, but before his skin even released, he broke the law. So you technically can't get in trouble for playing baseball, but crime number 1 happens when he hits Lil Whip, although it was done unintentionally. Depending on his injuries, he could land up to a year in jail, but we'll give him a warning because his next swing doesn't even come close. Vehicular destruction is a slam dunk case, and it's even worse since there were people on that bus. Now, Peter Griffin committing a crime in Fortnite has got to be the weirdest thing I've ever said, but I got the proof to back it up. In this trailer, he visits the doctor because he's feeling weak, so his doctor shows him how to get swole in 30 days. Peter doesn't have time for that, or even 1 hour, so his doctor illegally prescribes him expired slurp juice. So Meowscles faces up to 3 years in jail for medical malpractice, and Peter joins in with 5 years for illegal steroid use. Fishstick is next up on the chopping block because for whatever reason, he walks into the freezer aisle, opens a door, and just shoplifts an energy drink. Maybe theft by consumption isn't a crime Master Chief cares about, but if he did, Fishstick is getting locked up for anywhere between 1 and 7 years if he's a repeat offender. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And Loki is getting up to 10 years for manslaughter. He's on the battle bus, ready to drop in the island, and before they even jump, Bendy tries to sit next to him. Maybe rules don't apply on the island, but up here on the battle bus, this will land him at least 5 years in prison. He's not the only one who's committed the ultimate crime, because Jonesy did the same. In the Chapter 1 Season 9 trailer, we see Jones and Peely trapped in the bunker. It's all fun and games until they open the fridge and realize there's no food. As the doors open and we realize it has probably been years, Jones walks out sipping on a Peely milkshake, and this is a different level of messed up. Slurp Legends starts off with Leviathan, Bandolette, and Jones standing in a slurp factory before they're sucked up in a tube. As they go through all the bends and spit back out, we see all of them have been evilly transformed into slurp monsters. And Chaos Agent is the one in the back conducting the whole experiment. Well, human experimentation is definitely against the law, and if Chaos Agent ever got tried, that's an easy 10 years behind bars. In the very early days of Fortnite, you can land near Sunny Steps and see a llama being cooked. But one thing you'll notice is that it has bones, meaning llamas are sentient beings. So, in the Chapter 6 Season 2 trailer, when Keisha is driving her bike, we see a llama strapped with explosives. I, for one, will not stand for animal abuse, and neither does the government, because the perpetrator who did this will have 5 years to think about their actions in jail. Who has committed the most crimes in Fortnite? Thanos? Dr. Doom? Well, according to all of our evidence, it's probably Jonesy. Here he is in the Walking Dead universe, and before Michelle and Daryl could even react, he abducts them. Then he does the same thing to Terminator, which I'm not sure if a robot counts, but Ryu and Chun-Li are definitely not off limits. The same can be said for Ripley, and if I'm counting correctly, that is 3 separate counts for human abduction. One thing that has never happened before is going to your Fortnite locker and seeing this. That's right, Peely's icon had been changed, and Jones learns that his banana friend had been kidnapped. So throughout the season, Jones searches for him and learns the society had done it to learn about Pandora's box, which he literally had no idea about. Either way, it doesn't excuse Oscar and Nisha's actions because kidnapping someone as a hostage lands you in jail no matter what. One of the worst crime offenders in Fortnite is Midas. We all know he's been leading factions like Ghost and Shadow and even launched a Doomsday device, but the real crime is how he got there. With the ability to turn anything to pure gold, he is able to manipulate the economy and give himself a net worth of all of it. Then we have Jonesy again. Instead of abducting people, he's now just taking their clothes. Alright, let me explain. In Absolute Doom, he stands as Fortnite's own Captain America, but this is technically impersonation. Especially when you consider that if these X-Men had never met Cap until now, he has the blonde hair, blue eyes, they might think it's actually him. But he gets a pass on this one. Technically, he has a handwritten note from Steve Rogers giving him permission to use the shield and outfit. Next, we're bringing Journey into the courtroom for reckless endangerment. It's pretty evident she's the one in charge of this motorboat until she gets a call and not only takes it while driving, but straight up jumps ship. Now, normally this wouldn't be too bad, but with 3 people still on the boat heading straight for the edge of a dam, this is nothing short of a life sentence. A less serious case occurred when sprays came to Fortnite. Here we see Technique and friends all graffitiing a wall and Tilted. Assuming they don't have permission with such a small amount of damage, it'll probably land them a couple of months. But Jinx won't get off so easy. Ignoring her other crimes, she went even crazier with the vandalism, spraying not just one wall, but an entire building. With over $5,000 in damages, this could easily get her up to 8 years in jail. But all these sentences mean nothing if Dr. Doom is gonna break you out, and that's exactly what he did for his fellow villains in Chapter 5. Assisting Mysterio and Emma Frost out of the raft would land him a maximum of 10 years in prison himself. But I think we all know he has a much larger sentence than that. Now what about breaking in somewhere instead? That's exactly what the crew were doing in The Last Resort, and while robbery is also a crime here, it's the destruction they cause on the way. All this to enter Kato's vault and steal his loot. We're looking at 5 years for property damage, an additional 14 for breaking and entering. Even crimes from 2018 aren't safe from the court of T5G, because looking at the trailer for Season 4, all of the characters are running from the meteor impact. But just when Rex has a chance to survive... Yeah, not only is Triceratops putting him at risk instead, she also straight up robbed him of his slurp. Now Jones makes his 3rd appearance in court, this time for creating a weapon of mass destruction. Before, he was convicted for turning Peely into a smoothie, but now he repays him with a P-1000 mech suit to walk around again. However, attaching weapons in the process only leads to one thing. What better place to find crime than the city named after it? Big Dill steps onto the road for just a second this season before Cassidy Quinn comes along. Not stopping for a road accident. That's a hit and run, landing her up to 3 years in jail. But I don't think we can ignore the pickle here either. Considering he just committed grand theft of a bank, I think that's the least of our worries. Now, if there's one Fortnite character who's broken a law against the environment, it's Megalodon. He plowed into the coast with his giant ship and brought a humongous cloud of not just sand, but nitro smog to the island. Not to mention the hundreds of cars running on the juice too, the mass pollution definitely would have passed an emissions test, landing him up to 3 years in jail. Now, when you're invited into Fortnite, you probably happily accept, but people like Aquaman arrived on his own terms.
I invited Aquaman. He said yes. So I said, can you wear a shirt? He said, no.
Technically, not wearing a shirt is a fine, but after you've been asked on the job, Aquaman is getting slapped with indecent exposure. Someone else who didn't listen on the job is Agent Jones.
The 0 point is imploding. We've lost control. Save yourself.
If I don't stop this, it could destroy all existence.
You have your orders. Now get out of there.
I'm gonna do what we should have done from the very start. I'm going to the 7th.
You took an oath. You're betraying everything we took for you.
While Jones may be taking the right action here, disobeying orders from his government boss and breaking his oath is treason, and under the IO's control, that'll be life imprisonment. Now, if they're the ones in charge, pretty much anything they did was above the law. Like at the end of Chapter 2, Sloane didn't care for the cubes or the island. Instead, she focused on locking up Jones and even trying to kill him for that crime. And while he did betray them, this kind of imprisonment and even torture could still get her up to a life sentence. Back to lower level crime. When Cars first released, we obviously saw a large increase in road accidents, but a lot of them were thanks to Dummy. He's driving his taxi service, he clearly doesn't have a license and is breaking customer safety regulations. And I think someone needs to check on the underground crime going on with the Barkington Style Agency. We have an illegal poker game, and it won't get much of a penalty with just 11 months in prison. And it looks like Castaway Jones will be facing a much larger penalty for an aircraft shoot-down.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Since it was unintentional, it'll only land him with a charge for manslaughter, but that could still lead up to a lifetime imprisonment. What about causing a bar fight? That's exactly what these guys did, even using the pool sticks as weapons, leaving them with a charge for serious assault. But thankfully those guys are still alive back there, otherwise it would be much worse. Now, what about becoming a literal assassin? Well, Mando arrived on the island and started taking bounties instantly, hunting down Fish Stick and then even Peely. Not only hunting someone down and capturing them, but freezing them inside carbonite and all for money? That's hired assassination, Mando. The same goes for being a spy agent like Brutus. Now, if he has a license to kill, he might get away with this one, but considering he's working for Shadow, I doubt it. Let me know what you thought was the worst crime or if we missed one. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.